Now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are of course delighted to have this initiative by the Chief Minister and the State Government. This beautiful land below the wind has now reached a level that is impressive, that you are now wanting to continue to be associated with the zeitgeist, with the challenges of the times. Now, Blue Ocean Strategy, as you know, is a new strategy that has been, of course, in the last few decades, of course, but then been pushed as a new agenda during these post-normal times. You are breaking into a departure from the conventional view of economic development and progress. You're looking at your own strength and resources. What do I mean by post-normal times? It's a period of uncertainty. We have faced crises and crises one after another, which have brought so much chaos, complexity, and full of contradictions. You have issues that has not been seen to challenge authorities, states, from migration to climate change to civil strife and civil wars, which would warrant the leadership to take a bold and courageous step, not only taking account of the problems of the past, but to be able to anticipate and, inshallah, overcome. Because the problems are not unique, it's not separate, it's not sectoral, it's not as necessarily regional. It is happening all together at one time, what is termed as simultaneity, challenging us simultaneously. If you talk about climate change, it's in Africa, it's in Asia, it's in Europe, and it's in Sabah. You talk about migration, the problems of legal, illegal immigrants, it is in Sabah, it is in Selangor, it is in Europe, in the States. You talk about civil strife, it is happening much more elsewhere. You have seen it in Gaza and Ukraine. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this region remains safe. But the challenges are real. That is why we have to take additional effort to think beyond existing policies, challenges, and go beyond. Now, Blue Economy Initiative is, of course, a new focus. And not all countries or societies or even states in Malaysia can benefit from this blue ocean economy. Well, in a small way, yes. But you are blessed, alhamdulillah. This state, the great Sabah, can be greater if you focus on these issues. Now, this is what we call a broader, inclusive, sustainable development, which I unveiled in the budget yesterday. Our policy to enrich ourselves and each other. If there are issues, problems, we discuss, negotiate, and interact with one another. I've listened, and yesterday in the budget speech, I made specific reference to some visits that I've made in the last few months whilst thinking about the new economy and the budget. I was in Lahad Datu. Then I realized there are still issues unresolved about customary land in a Felda area. And after consulting the Chief Minister, we immediately came up with a decision to resolve the problem of the customary land in Tambisan, Felda Lahad. I've observed the tenacity, the courage, the patience of the settlers and the poor families to withstand the onslaught of the perpetrators in the Lahad. They have resulted in so much economic hardship and loss of lives. And it's interesting for me to note then, in the case of police personnel, army personnel losing their lives in Lahad, there were people from Semenanjung. But in Semenanjung, during some of the earlier skirmishes, we have bold, courageous Sabahans and Sarawakians losing their lives to protect one another. And this, I salute to those, not only them but their families, for their support and the resolve to defend Malaysia as a whole. So when you look at this, we are not talking about differences, we are talking about strength. Where did I learn? I learned from Lahad. Where do I get some of my ideas for the budget? Of course from the experts. But I can't underestimate the importance, the wisdom of the folks, the rural folks and those in the hinterland. I've looked talking to the children and my grandchildren in Sekolah Kebangsaan Lahad, Felda, then I realize, to them, what can we offer? They see us with so much expression of affection, love and respect. And we have to then reciprocate and understand that we have a responsibility, not only to our immediate children and family, but the entire children in this country. Where did I gather that spirit, that idea? Lahad. That's why I say these are microcosm of the issues affecting the country. Security, quality of education, public health, basic infrastructure, which is of course lagging behind as compared to many other districts in the country. But more pronounced, which is relevant to our discourse today, is the economic fundamentals. And that is where our colleagues have decided to focus on our strength. In the first decades, Sabah talks about nothing else except timber. Now, we are talking about industrial production, food security, and now blue ocean economy. To resolve part of the problem. And I believe, as stated by my colleague, Chief Minister Hajiji, that we are clear, there's clarity in the policy. Of course, premised upon clear commitment, desire to work together, and I've seen this in Sabah. Congratulations, not only to him but the entire team. There is, of course, political stability in the country. We are fortunate. And some of the problems affecting national politics and economy would invariably affect states, including Sabah. So we are fortunate that after somewhat years of turbulence in the political arena, we have, in the last 2 years, found political stability. But I always question, political stability is not the answer. The answer is to have good governance by responsible leaders. Rid this country of corruption and laxity, abuse of power. And with that political stability, we have crafted policies. They are policies that will benefit everyone and to cater for the interests of every single region in the country. That is why I have assured, the Chief Minister and my cabinet colleagues are here, Mizan, Iwan, Deputy Ministers, that in the cabinet we make no apologies, no issue whatsoever. What is required by any state, by any community, to be deemed as fair and just, we will continue to support without fear or favor. And this we have done, and we have is reflected yesterday's budget. Now, with the clarity of policies, political stability, clarity of policies, then we can embark on these programs. Now, in the last few decades, nobody talked about energy transition. Or more so, energy from the ocean. Hardly, except for the energy to get the sailing boat across. But now, these are new ideas. And our capacity to absorb them, to get our universities, including University Sabah, to get our colleges, our experts, to be directly involved in this series of discussions. That's why I'm thankful that so many of representatives from universities and colleges are also present to make sure that they will participate and support this endeavor to make Sabah an important part of its nation economically strong and viable. Now, the challenges, of course, are real. We are fortunate, as I said. The first year was turbulent too. In the sense of people still are uncertain. Is this government serious? Is it stable? Do we have the courage to undertake the necessary reforms, including subsidy rationalization, which is grossly unpopular, but it has to be done. I've said, for example, our tax base in Malaysia is about the lowest in the region. Can you imagine? Yeah. Only the finance ministers nodding in agreement. The rest are not too sure. The tax is to tax or not to tax. That's the question. And the question is certainly going to be very, very difficult to absorb by the public. But in reality, the lowest. Look at the price of sugar, flour, rice, petrol. All this, as compared to the neighbors, is substantially lower, and also petrol. I mentioned part of it yesterday in the budget. Now, should we burden the people through increasing the prices? No, because however necessary, we should avoid giving the additional burden to the people. Yes, our inflation is about the lowest, less than 2%. But to the farmers, to the workers, any slight increase is a burden because there's no increase in their salary and their wages. That is why I made that bold decision to start with the highest increase for the civil servants ever recorded in the history of this country. Beginning with an increase December and January and another bonus in February. Why? Because I expect them to work harder and be more efficient and serve the people with all their strength and commitment. And I've seen under the Chief Secretary and the State Secretary that desired push is being carried out with clear commitment. I must thank them too, because now the demand for salary increase is over. Now is the time for us to execute to the best of our ability to make sure that our departments are efficient, and as alluded to by Chief Minister Hajiji, approvals given speedily. If approvals can be given in 2 weeks, why must they wait 2 years or 2 months or even 2.5 weeks? I'll give you an example. A few months back, I decided to open a major housing project in the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur. We call it Perumahan Madani housing project, mainly for the B40, M40. The normal time for approvals, land acquisition, EIA, JPS, and so numerous departments will take between 8 months to 1.5 years. But I call up the project manager, and he said, everything is ready. Well, I don't know. Assuming everything is ready, I asked the municipal chief, and they said, yeah, but then we will take time to approve. So I just gave a date to launch the project. And mind you, the project that normally takes 8 months to 1 year, 1.5 years, took only 45 days to complete, and I launched that project after 45 days. No. What is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that some things can be done. We are just damn or plain lazy, irresponsible or corrupt. And this country cannot succeed if you have this mentality. That's why the battle against corruption must be fought with all our strength. We have seen results. Our ringgit is about the best performing in the world. Who can even imagine this 2 years, 3 years back? But it can be done if our ringgit can be so. Malaysia is now the hub for semiconductor. Sarawak used to be now one of the energy hub. Now we have this idea from our smart Hajiji, Chief Minister, wanted to make true blue ocean, a new hub for the region. And I, as Prime Minister, will give all the support necessary to make sure that Sabah succeed. That's how we work. Are we competing? No, we are complementing. Semiconductor, mainly, Penang, Kulim High Tech, Selangor, Johor now. Data center, AI, booming in Peninsula. You need that data center by the time you get this huge, enormous energy that's cheap and water supply that's going to be very competitive. Of course, blue ocean means also fishing. We're going to consider this. How do you imagine this beautiful ocean surrounding us? We have still to import close to more than 50, 60 billion ringgit of food. Doesn't make sense. So both the ministries and the state governments have to push this as long as you protect the environment and make sure that you do not destroy the environment in the process. Now the other issues, of course, tourism. I was just talking to Chief Minister Haji last few weeks. I said, oh, how I would love to come here quietly, spend time with my family and grandchildren to visit Sabah. So beautiful. I have seen from video clippings and documentary, so beautiful. But that was my remark to him. Given half a chance, I better spend time here on condition he and the state government will not disturb me during my holidays. But you know, that is an objective view. All these years I've traveled probably more than half of the world. But the beauty, the splendid, exquisite beauty and cultural and scenic in Sabah, believe me, is unrivaled compared to many parts of the world. A few months back, I was in Vladivostok on the invitation of President Vladimir Putin. And then during the Q&A with him on stage, and the Chinese Vice Premier was asked, and I tell you, my answer was that our beaches, our scenic beauty, to me, I said, is splendid, exotic, aesthetic, and unrivaled compared to many parts of the world. So Gigi have got to do something to give me some commission for promoting Sabah and the beauty of Sabah. But the commission is hard work and commitment and build up this state as a great part of this country. But otherwise, I intend to initially to also repeat some of the programs and projects that we have passed. I know this also has been expressed by many of us. I wouldn't do so because you should only know that as a state, this is a big state, and many areas are still considered to be underdeveloped, and we have to spend huge funds for the Pan Borneo project, which is, alhamdulillah, finally ongoing. It's almost complete in Sarawak, a bit more push needed for Sabah, but please appreciate the fact that in yesterday's budget, the allocation for Sabah is the highest ever recorded in this country. Is it able to resolve most of our issues or problems of underdevelopment, schools, hospitals, conditions? No. But it's a bold attempt, and we will continue to do that. Your task is to make sure that it's implemented efficiently, transparently. We don't end unnecessary losses due to delays, unduly and inordinate delays, and waste, commissions, and corruption. That's now your responsibility to make sure that it works. And work as a team, because Sabah is also a showcase. It's multiracial, 30 ethnic groups, multi-religious, but can work with ihsan, with compassion, with respect, as a great family. So thank you very much, Chief Minister and the State Government, for giving me that opportunity. I wouldn't expand too much on the issue of Blue Ocean, because the experts are here. So one thing you must learn in politics, governance, and leadership: deal with subjects that you have expertise or understanding. Where you have experts around, let them explain, because they can do better than you. That's how I learn in politics. You have to have the humility. And you know, I've said this before, that one of the great English-American poet that I admire, T.S. Eliot, when he talks of humility, he says precisely this: the only wisdom one can hope to acquire is the wisdom of humility. The wisdom of humility is endless. Jika ada sesuatu kebijaksanaan yang boleh dirungkai oleh manusia, adalah sifat rendah diri, tawadhu, transparently, effectively, and efficiently implemented. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.